does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei! Hey, does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei! Hey, B does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei!
I think that's long enough, right? We don't need to do the whole thing. It just keeps going over and over. Welcome to the dojo. I would be Doe. That would be Joe.
Hello.
Dogface and Joe. Episode 2, second podcast. Coming up today, we're going to give you a for sure fire way to save money. I went to a concert a couple weeks ago, quick concert recap, and want to discuss the difference between being a great musician and a great player. A lot of people are like, well, great musicians are, great players. No, they're not. There's a big difference, so we'll cover that. And as promised, last podcast, episode numero uno, we told you, what's worse, trying to find a job when you don't have one or a relationship when you don't have one? Because when you don't have a job, there's no puppy at the park. There's no stroller at the mall that can help you find a job. You walk into, goddamn IBM, and you got a puppy on a leash, and you're like, hey, can I get an application? They're probably going to tell you to get the F out. Dogs aren't allowed. And if you show up with a stroller, you walk into the Googleplex, and you're like, hey, I want to work here. Well, Google's a bad example because they have a daycare. But if you walked into
they got a place for them.
Yeah, if you walked into like a machine shop and you had a stroller, you're like, hey, I got my kid today. He's with me half the time and he's with his mom the other half, but can I get an application? They're going to look at you with all these hot shards of metal flying all over. They're going to be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You don't show up for a job interview with a kid. So there's a big difference in how you can use what I would call date bait. That's what it is, going to the park with a puppy, date bait, or going to the mall with your 9-year-old niece or a stroller. That's date bait when you're single. You don't have date bait when you're without a job.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely a good call on that too. There's really
there's
no one to check in on you too when you don't have a girlfriend. When you don't have a job, sometimes people will call and be like, how you doing? Are you all right? You get a phone call here and there from buddies. When there's no girlfriend, though, no one really ever calls in and says, hey, how you doing? You got a girlfriend?
No.
You hanging out with somebody? How you doing? You well, maybe if you're talking and it comes up, but no one ever calls specifically for that reason.
Yeah, to go, hey, Joe, how you doing today on this fine morning? Did you get laid last night? Did you find a date? Did you get any fun? No one ever does that because they really don't care. And as you go through this process of not having a job, you find out they don't really care. Nobody really cares about.
Well, you used to ask your buddies that when you were younger. You'd be like, "Hey, man, did you get any action last night when you went out?" And now, when you're older and you're going through it again, is when you really need to be asked that because that's going to kind of help you get pumped up for it. I guess I don't know. Dating when you're almost 50 sucks.
Especially when you don't want to. Here's the other thing. You got to get dressed up for both, or at least you should for a first date as you would a job interview. So you still got to put on the clean shoes. You still got to tuck the shirt in. You got to put a shave on. You got to, depending on what the event is, either wear a tie or put on clean jeans or make sure your socks are laundered or that your underwear aren't all blown out. You got to look.
Be doing that on a daily basis anyway, kind of.
You should, but I don't.
Of course you don't.
I've been married a long time, and until recently I've had a job a long time. There was no reason for me to go buy new clothes or to even wash the old ones.
I mean, I'm not married. There's all the reason for me to go buy new clothes, but I at least wash mine. You still wear tighty-whities. I mean, we've not even begun with you, my man. But you're married, so somehow you're doing it. I don't know.
But here's the other thing, just quickly on the tighty-whities. When you wear them as long as I do, they're not all that white, and by God, they're no longer tight. They're baggy and they're tan.
That's just
they're a little blown out.
Oh, man. Hey, do you remember the last time we talked, I said all I ever get is calls from the unemployment department? Why do they call every day at the same time? The unemployment department calls me again while we're trying to have a little conversation. What's the
They
deal
know
here?
you're without work. That's a good service. You want the money. The employer paid it in. You got to take that call.
I probably should answer it when they call.
Yeah, let's wait until we get the phones going, and we can talk to your EDD advisor live during the podcast.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a question real quick, though, because I was thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, have you made a resume for yourself yet?
No.
Okay. I was thinking about maybe we should make resumes. I don't know if that's something that we have to do right now. But it also got me.
Hold on real quick, though. The resume. Have I ever made one, or do I have one handy, or have I made an updated?
But one for like right now.
No.
For where we're at right now.
No.
Were you thinking about making one, or had it come up?
That's the other thing, Joe. You don't need a resume when you date, but with a new job.
This is what I was going to tell you. I've been going onto this website, myresumebuilder.com, trying to think about it, and it started making me think last night. What if because I'm alone a lot at my house at the moment. What if when you went on a date, you had to supply a resume for dating? Because I was thinking about while I'm building my resume for work, I don't have a whole lot of skills to put on there because I've been doing the same job for 22 years. It's like, I don't know. What am I going to, I guess I can use Excel or Word or I don't know what all I have handy. But then I'm starting to think about for dating, and I'm the same way. I don't really know what I would put on there. I mean, can you cook? Kind of. Can you clean? A little bit. Are you attractive? Probably not. I don't know.
Here's the thing with radio, being on an antenna radio station now, to go out with a resume and say we were on the radio, it's kind of like you're going out going, yeah, I know how to shoe horses. I'm one of the best blacksmiths in the valley.
That's what I'm talking about.
People see that and they're like, what? Goddamn terrestrial radio antenna. What is that? So you got all these young kids that are going through doing the hiring. So they look at even the skills that we do possess with our old profession. They don't know what any of it means. But to the date, I've told you before, back when we did the show, either at the meth lab or the swamp, I think everyone should date and show up. So it's like a job interview, and you sit down with your resume. She sits down with hers. And you go through, and it doesn't have to be all formatted. You know, you don't have to have the job summary, last place of employment, but you have all the wants and all the needs and then all the desires or dreams. And you go through. First thing you do when you sit down, hey, do you find me attractive? Do you think this bulge is of average size, or is it a little small? And you kind of, you grab it.
You're going to say that it's going to be on the resume? Come on.
Well, I'm just saying
ridiculous.
Things that
you want a second date, man.
Well, that's the whole thing. You don't always get called back to a second job interview if your skills and your employment record sucks and you don't have anything to offer that new employer. You don't get called back. It should be the same damn way for a date resume.
No way. I got to rely on the spot charisma when I go on a date, much like I do at a job interview. When I hand a person, an individual, whether it be for a date or for a job, a piece of paper with my skills on it, it doesn't look as good as I think it should.
Okay.
Maybe it should look better.
It should be about wants, though. And I've told you this. First thing you should talk about with the girl first, do you find me attractive? Do I find you attractive? If the answer is yes, you move to question 2. Do you have ambition and desires? Do you want to make a little bit of money, a medium amount of money, or a lot of money? You need to see where you're at with that.
Ask on a date?
Yes, I know that's not what we do, but it's what we should do. How many kids do you want? Do you want to live in a trailer, an apartment, or a house? Those are all. What kind of car do you want to drive? Where do you want to shop? Do you see yourself spending time at Walmart on Saturdays, or do you want to go to Neiman Marcus? Those are the questions that need to come up.
No, you are out of your mind. You're lucky you're still married right now. If I'm having a hard time, I couldn't even imagine seeing you sit across from the table and laying that on somebody.
I'm just telling you.
She's like, we're going to pay for our own bills. Thank you, sir. I'm leaving.
Hey, but if they're truthful and you find good compatibility, They're going to be like, wow, I've never been asked what kind of car I want to drive in 10 years. I've never been asked what type of hotels I want to stay in when I travel. I've never been asked if I would someday like to yacht. Those are those things that people need to do, and they don't. It's the simple things that everyone's
Does
like.
anyone need to be asked if they'd someday like to yacht? Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I would. Tomorrow would be cool. Let's go yachting. I don't even really like boats, but I'd like to yacht.
I guarantee Christopher Cross, when he sat down on his first date, he asked the chick he was with, do you like sailing? And I don't know how she responded, but I guarantee he asked her. I'm just saying.
You're such an idiot.
I think it's good, and if people were more honest about all the shit that we think we want, don't want, and we fight over, if we did it that way, people would have better lives. I think it's all like we're trying to be nice. And I don't think chivalry's dead. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think chivalry is something that should be dead. It is dead. I'm not saying you be rude and you don't pull the chair out anymore, but we're so focused on impressing and you know what hair, what clothes we're wearing and what hip things we watch, and hey, what's the last thing you binge watched, and all this other garbage. A lot of the important stuff falls to the wayside. 3 years down the road, you're like, I'm not compatible with you. I hate your guts. I can't imagine sharing a child with you. Someone that looks half like you, half like me makes me sick.
You can't get that out of the questions you've asked, though. That's insane.
But
you're going to have a far better shot doing it the old-fashioned way than what you're asking.
Oh, like what?
You want a yacht one day figure into your equation any better than what normal people ask now?
Because here's the thing. If I ask
what are your
a chick...
ambitions? If she's
That's
ambitionless, you should know that immediately.
Yeah, but some people, like, how many women would want to date a second or third date if the guy's like, well, my ambitions, they end about the beginning of September, you know, kick off a football season. All I do...
say that anyway.
Thursday, Monday, Sunday, all I do is sit in my own froth and filth, and all I do is watch football, and I bet on it. I turn into a degenerate during football season, and I overdrink, and I yell, and I break the electronics when my team loses, and my first marriage, I beat my wife and my kids because my team sucked. I mean, that's why I'm saying, if you ask someone if they yacht...
Your analogies go to the most insane places, and... You're crazy with your thought process.
It's
no
true,
one
though.
would stay sitting at a desk. I don't care if you were paid if you heard someone say that.
What else? Yeah, okay. That's another thing. Getting paid, okay? A date will never pay you. You have to pay for the date. When you go to work and you get paid. You go to a date, you might have to pay and not get laid. But the job always pays you.
That's a good point. That's a great point. That's why I'm not doing any dating at the moment, is because I can't afford to go on a date.
Stop with that. Back when you could afford to go on the date, you still didn't go.
Well, again, that's true. Now that I don't have a job, though, I got to tell you, it would be probably more fun to go on a date than it would be to go back to my old job and to get paid for what I was doing. I would rather pay, I think, at this point in time. Right where I'm at, even though I'm jobless, I would rather pay to go on a date than to get paid and go back and do what I was doing.
At work.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
At this moment, right now. Now, ask me in about a month from now, maybe that answer's different. But right now, yeah, that's where I would go with it, I think.
All right, so we got to do an update. We got to make sure that we have you stand on a scale once a week. We don't want you losing too much weight. But I know Joe. There's a lot of Joe that's being truthful with that, because getting up, being somewhere on time, that was a big part of the job, and a lot of the stresses that we don't talk about, and a lot of people don't know exist in radio, Joe hated. So I do believe Joe when he says he'd rather pay and lose money to go on a date than go to work and get money.
Well, right now, again, I'm just a tiny bit out of not having a job at the moment, and I really haven't even started looking for a new job yet. But yes, identically to what you say is real. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't even really get the same amount of headaches that I was getting before. Now, isn't that weird? I wonder if getting up that early in the morning was doing something jostling me to my system.
Are you taking the same amount of Advil?
No.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not getting the same amount of headaches, and I don't know if it was because of lack of sleep. Who knows what it was, but it's not. I'm not getting them. Now, that's not to say if I start going on dates, the headaches won't return, or I won't become a headache for a young lady out there. But at the moment, my headaches have lessened. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I'm telling you. There's a few things I would do differently. One would be possibly pay to go on dates.
Well, I think that you should. And right now, I mean, it's kind of a weird icebreaker. Hey, what do you do for a living? Absolutely nothing. Hey,
I don't know what to say. Yeah, what do you do with that? Well, I'm on unemployment. Baby.
Yeah, we had to go to a party over the weekend. I told my wife, I'm like, God damn, really? We're going to go to this party and, you know, we're going to meet all these new people. And the whole thing's going to be, hey, what do you do for a living? And I told 3 or 4 people. I said, right now, nothing. I'm doing absolutely nothing. They're like, what, are you retired? And I go, kinda.
Did someone ask you that? Yeah.
Yeah, because
oh, man.
all these people were my age or a little bit older, and a couple of them were retired. And we had the conversation, and I was like, I'm not doing anything. I go, I got fired. I've done radio for almost 34 years, 35 years, got fired a month ago. I don't have a job. I don't have anything, and I'm kind of retired. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And then they didn't go, hey, what are you going to do next? Or they didn't ask none of that. They just thought that it was cool that I was, you know, an old dinosaur that used to be on a radio station.
Oh, man, you know what? That's not too bad. Here's what I've been getting. Digger has started baseball again, and I'll go out to the baseball field and hang out with the dads and whatnot, and all the dads listened and the parents listened and all that, and so I get the other thing. Hey, are you doing all right? Are you going to be okay? You know, I said, yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I guess we're going to be all right. I said, me and Dog are working on something right now. I go, I should be, you know, I hope so.
Yeah.
But so I get the opposite end because I don't think I can't retire, dude. Your son is through college. So if you possibly wanted to take it easy from this point on, you might be able to, even though you're way too driven to ever retire, even at old age. But you possibly could.
I've thought about it.
I have to find a way to hopefully not at the crack of dawn as early as we got up before, but I still got to find a way to work for at least 30 more years.
Okay, let me just, I just got to reiterate, you're 47, is that correct?
49.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm 52. Yeah, my bad. You're almost 50. So you have to work until you're 79 or 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any money saved, really, you know? Yeah. I had a little bit of money saved, and then, you know, I got divorced, so I was kind of rebuilding it, and then all of a sudden now I don't have a job, so I was figuring I'm just going to probably be like a Walmart greeter when I get to be of a certain age, you know, work as hard as I can till I'm, you know, too old to really do anything, and then, you know, be like a store greeter or something.
So you really don't want to retire any earlier because your next ambition and your next thing is going to be a wall. So you don't want to retire. I just want to make the clear-cut distinction, wanting to and not wanting to. If you're going to, you know, greet people at Walmart, that means you have no ambition of ever putting your feet up until the day you die.
Well, I don't think I'll be able to. I mean, being able to fulfill a dream and do I want to? Hell yeah. I'd like to retire tomorrow.
Okay,
but I don't think I'll be able to.
Then you need to put in different applications other than Walmart as door greeter if you want to retire.
I'm talking about when I get to be an old person, man. I'm talking you hit like 70 and you still got to work. You know, what jobs are available for a feller like that? Walmart door greeter.
Yeah.
I see a few of them. They look pretty old when they're out there saying hello to you.
But again, by the time you reach that age, a Walmart door greeter is going to be basically like what we were, on-air DJs. Nobody's going to know what the F they are. Nobody's going to remember it. Here's the other thing. I want to go back to this. Dating. Is it easier to get a job when you don't have one or a date when you don't have one? There's a big difference between getting boned and boning, okay? Most people don't know how to use the term bone. It's like, okay, I could care less. or I couldn't care less. Saying you could care less makes it sound like you may be somewhat interested. Couldn't care less clearly states that you're bored or irritated out of your mind. That's what it is with boning and boned. Because with a date, okay, you can bone a date. At work, you get boned. Big difference.
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't really know what do I say to that?
Well, I can edit this.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
What's the proper way to talk about boning? Or how should you say boning and boned?
Well, you said at work you get boned, and at work you get boned.
Yeah, so just say, what's the difference? There's no difference, or,
Between boning and getting boned?
Well, I had to do it because we got way gone down the road, so I wanted to bring it back.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out a good way for us to get back into it.
And that's okay doing this. This is an easy edit.
That's fine. That's the best part about doing them like this.
See, if we were live. Just so say that. So if I told someone I got boned last night, what would that mean?
I would never say I got boned. If I told someone I boned last night, what would that mean,
Okay, ask it that way. That's fine.
See, because that's where I was getting confused on this when I read it the first time. You get boned.
No, well, see, that was the question. It wasn't about it's what's the proper way to talk about boning. That left it generic.
Yeah.
So just ask. So what would you think if I said I boned last night?
Okay, then what are you going to say?
If you told me, dude, I didn't get any sleep last night because I was up all night boning, I'd say, what was her name? If you told me, dude, dog, I got boned last night, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what happened? Did you go to jail? And then just the outline. It's the same thing. We're just throwing it around.
Then I say, what's the proper way to talk about boning?
No, you just don't even just throw that away. Just pick it up with. So what would you say to me if I told you I boned last night?
I don't know where to go with this, though.
There's nowhere to go with it. It's just going to close out the thing. The whole thing got way off when we never got the question in with, because every day you go to work, you get boned. You don't always get boned on a date. That was your line.
Well, where do we leave off with that?
Well, that's way back. I'm not sure where that is. That's where because I already picked up for that. I'm just trying to close out the thing.
Well, let's think of another way to close it, maybe. That wraps up with kind of where we were at. Because this kind of comes in and it takes us. I don't know if it just doesn't make sense that we would just say this right now.
It finishes the whole train of thought that we were having with the conversation.
Okay.
Just say that. Say, so what would you say if last night I was boning? Or I boned last night? Or, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't know how much longer we can go on talking about differences of dating and work.
we can't really, I mean, that was just a tiny little thing. That's why I was trying to give you something real with it.
No, the real's fine as long as we know where it is so we can think of funny stuff to go with it.
Let me just think about this for a minute.
So just say it that way then. The biggest difference between dating and work is every day you go to work, you get boned. You don't always get boned on a date.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just pick it up right there and we'll just finish out the thing.
Okay. Well, the difference between going to work and being on a date is every day you go to work, you get boned. Every time you go on a date, you might get to bone.
Yeah, you don't always, yeah. There is a big difference between getting boned and boning. Most people don't know how to use the term bone. It's kind of like people don't know how to use could care less or couldn't care less. Saying you could care less makes it sound like, you might be somewhat interested. Couldn't care less clearly states that you're bored and irritated out of your mind. There's a big difference, but people don't know that difference.
Between boned and boning?
Well, I think so, because it's like this. If you told me, dude, dog, I got boned last night. If Joe said that to me, I'd say, well, what happened? Did you go to jail? If you told me, dude, dog, I didn't get any sleep last night because I was up all night, man, I was boning, I'd say, what's her name? Or I might still say, what's his name? But you would never want to say that you got boned tonight. You have to say, I feel like boning tonight, unless you plan on going to jail. There's a big difference between getting boned and boning.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, we can keep going on and on and on about the differences of work and relationships. Have we covered any ground? Do we know if one's easier than the other?
No, we've covered zero ground today.
Yeah. I still don't know.
I don't think one is easier than the other, to be quite honest with you. I never will believe one to be easier at all than the other.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could do a case study. We could see if you get a date or a job first. That would be the clear-cut way to figure out which is easier.
Well, we're going to know that one soon enough then, aren't we?
Yeah. Wish we had a phone number to give you right now. Yeah. Prospective employers, chime in. You can chime in on social or on this podcast and say, hey, I got a job for you, Joe. Or what about this? Hey, Joe, I'd like to take you out on a date.
No, we're not doing that again. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I want to talk about this. Two more things we have to cover. We have to talk about playing and being a good musician, but I just want to share this. This is a surefire way, I think, to save money. And it just goes along with
I could use this right now.
Everything that has gotten ruined since the pandemic, even before the pandemic. People have just gotten so lazy, and the entire way we shop, purchase, buy, return, it's all bastardized. And I was going to throw this out there for people out there looking to save a buck. I found a new thing to take advantage of the disgruntled, lazy Gen Zers, okay? It's old school. All you got to do, and my wife and I learned this the hard way, we went to one of those computer big box stores, okay? Bought something or wanted to buy something. They put in a price that was wrong, okay? Well, the price was right, but the marking was wrong. So my wife said, hey, it didn't say it was that much on the tag. The guy put his hands up and he's like, hey, how much, Carl? How much are these? Carl's busy. The kid goes in the computer. He's like, oh, I can't find it. Well, he didn't want to leave his terminal to walk over 18 steps to look at the marked price. he just honored it. So he knocked off, it was, I think, like $8 to $12 cheaper for this item we were going to buy at this computer big box store. Never questioned it. He just went with. He asked my wife, how much was it marked as? She said this, and she wasn't lying, and he just reduced the price. He never verified it. So my whole thing with this is lie. When you go in and you don't have enough money, lie
All
about
that
it
for this.
and see if they call you on it because they're so lazy. All you have to do, like, you show up with a bag of oranges. They're like, hey, that's $5.99. No, it wasn't. Said it was $1.99. See if they have enough gumption or charisma to get off their fat ass and leave that check stand and walk back and do a price check. Because we used to talk about...
You asshole. That's all I can say to that. I mean, you're going to sit here and tell us you have a way for us to save money, and then you're going to tell us to go to a store and lie to the cashier on the pricing.
You're not lying. You're calling their bluff.
That's a direct lie.
No, it could be a mistake. Now, the fact that you're knowingly giving them the price, yeah, you're lying. But it's a devious way to find out how committed they are to their current employer and keeping their job. What you're trying to do is separate the scum from the people who want to be with that company and that want to continue on.
What if you have trusting eyes? I could lie to someone so easily and make them believe it. That would be terrible to do. Yeah, but what if it's a young kid or a young girl? It would be very easy to do that.
What if it's an old woman?
Same thing, even easier.
Yep. Back in the day, and I've always talked about this, you'd go to the grocery store, and you would go in there, and all the people, they'd bag the groceries, and they'd hit their shoulder, and they knew how to bag, and they had baggers. These people were professional baggers. They used to have bagging competitions. Now, you're lucky if you can find a clerk that can multitask and then put the stuff that...
True.
Nobody knows how to bag groceries anymore. And if you go back in the day...
You always say that. That's not true.
Baggers are extinct. They do not have people that know how to bag the way they used to. And that goes back to the price check. Back in the day, there was a kid that just ran up and down the aisles at whatever store it was, checking the prices. He'd run back and change out the Campbell's soup. He'd go back and he'd change out this. He'd run back and and all he did was run around and...
Bagger guns, really?
Yeah. He would go back and hey, Carl, need a price check? Price check? That's all you used to hear. When's the last time you've been in a store and you heard someone shout over the PA that they need a price check?
I don't know, 1950. They don't, I mean, it's because it's all digital now. You can check it on your phones. They should be able to pull that stuff up right there at the register.
Okay, but hold on.
Don't
They can, but it's what's marked in the register that you're disputing opposed to what the label or the ticket is on the item on the shelf. Nobody knows if it was updated.
So the price came up, and you specifically said, it said it was this on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't say that.
No, I told you. We weren't lying. We weren't lying about it. My wife was telling the truth. He rang it up higher than what the price was marked as, but he never verified it. It came up higher in the computer, but he honored what my wife told him. So what I'm telling you to do is just keep saying everything in your cart on the conveyor belt is cheaper than what it rings up as. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I thought.
It's like I'm a genius.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the advice.
Hey, you're without a job. I would think you more than anyone would pay attention to that and try it today.
I do not like lying, and I that's like stealing and lying together. It's a whole just conglomeration of stuff I don't really like.
Okay, I can agree with some of those things. Yes, you might be right. But what I would do if I owned a grocery store or a retail store, I would think, oh my God, this is genius. What Dog has done is he's held our employees accountable. He's come up with a way to test our employees that we never thought about testing. We're going to build good quality managers out of stock boys. We're going to build good CEOs out of cashiers. We're going to really get these people in and teach them the ropes and get quality people that know ins and outs and all the little tricks. That's what I would think if I owned a retail store.
Okay.
It's just me.
You're crazy, dude.
I got to talk about this. This is probably the last thing we'll do on episode 2. So Joe and I, we lost our job. What was it? It was August 7th. It was on a Wednesday. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've talked about this time and time again on all the shows we've done. I've bought very few concert tickets in my life. I've bought Rolling Stones. I bought Billy Joel. Someone one time at Arco did get me front row Van Halen. They said, hey, I can get you front row, but you got to buy them. And this is when they came back with Dave. And I said, okay, I'm in. Yeah, I'll pay for them. I've bought very few concert tickets, but after we lost our job on the 7th, Saturday night at Concord Pavilion, Sammy Hagar was there. Okay. So it was him and Loverboy. And I wanted to see the show because Michael Anthony's on bass, Satriani, who I can't stand, on guitar, Jason Bonham on drums, and I didn't have any free hookups on this. So I told a buddy, I was like, hey, let's drive up there. Maybe we can find some scalp tickets in the parking lot. I want to see this show. So he's like, okay. So we go, can't find any scalp tickets. We pay for them. We get the cheapest ticket you can get back in the lawn. And my wife's like, you know what? You need this. Go see a Sammy show. Go have some beers. Go have fun. You should go do this after losing your job. So we go, and it was the worst thing I could have done after getting fired, going to see this show, because my own mortality set in. And as I sat in the back of Concord Pavilion, which I love, I just thought about, my God, I'm 52. I don't have a job. I'm going to be dead. And I'm not having a good time. And I should have had a great time because they haven't done a lot of the 5150 songs that they did on this tour in a long time. And the reason that I was faced with my own mortality and it made me sad wasn't because of Sammy's ability. It wasn't because of Michael Anthony. Jason Bonham's really not a great drummer. It was because of Joe Satriani. Okay?
Okay, come on. You're making this up.
I swear to God, Joe, I would tell you, I got really sad, and I got sadder the next day because I'm like, I'm not going to have this many more chances to see Sammy. Sammy's almost 80. And Eddie's dead.
We just got fired, man. We're not dying.
No, but it wasn't the firing thing or my age, really. It was the sadness of just life and how it works out. And I just wanted Eddie there so bad. At the beginning of this, I told you, okay, the difference between a great musician and a great player. Joe Satriani is the excrement on the bottom of Eddie Van Halen's shoes. I've always said it,
didn't you? You just needed to say it just one time throughout this. There's no reason for it.
He proved it that night, and he's a nice guy. He's a great guitar player, but he's not a musician. And I tell you, go back, check out the Satch Boogie, check out Surfing with an Alien. He's just never created any great music. He knows how to do all that, but he can't make music with it. And when you hear him trying to recreate Eddie Van Halen 5150 songs, it made me really, really sad. It did not make me happy. It did not lift me up. It made me miss Eddie like I had not missed him since the day he died. It was a sad.
Who else could do it? Who could do it better? I mean, you're going to have to let someone try.
People ask me that, and I appreciate that question. I would say give Nuno Bettencourt a chance. Give a couple other people an audition. I don't think there's an answer to that, Joe. I don't know. So I think that, yeah, who else are you going to get if you want to do these songs? Now, Sammy comes out. Okay, they did Summer Nights. I love that. And they have not done that since like OU812 days, even though it was off of 5150. Love Summer Nights, but Sammy does this story. And I was like, Sammy, don't do this. And there was a lot of people from SAC that I saw at that show, and a lot of people just the night before saw the show at Sleep Train. Or whatever it is, Toyota Amphitheater now, up in Wheatland.
My buddy lives across the street, went to it.
Yeah, so you could chime in, tell me what you thought. But oh my God, Pound Cake with the drill too. That was just atrocious. But Sammy does this whole story, And he says, he's like, yeah, I'll never forget when we wrote this song, Summer Nights. He goes, Eddie came out, and this is exactly how Sammy said. He goes, Eddie walks out, man. He goes, he had this special guitar. And I told him, Eddie, I go, what the fuck is that? What does that do? And Eddie's like, oh, this is a special guitar. And he goes, man, that guy started playing the beginning of Summer Nights. And I'm like, whoa, he's like an alien. This guy's like an alien. How does he do that? He said, so when Joe and I started talking about doing these songs for this show, he said, hey, Joe, I don't think you can do Summer Nights. You got to have a special guitar like Eddie. He goes, you got to have that guitar. Hey, Joe, do you have that guitar? He said, Joe looked at me and goes, I don't need that guitar. And then they go into Summer Nights. And I'm like, really, Sammy? You're going to blow it up that way? Because it was evident that Joe Satriani not only needed that guitar, he needed sheet music and lessons. He needed Eddie up there pushing his fingers where to go because it was awful. It was awful.
Well, he was just trying to make a show of it, man.
He was.
You can't go to the show and then be like that.
But here's the thing. Why can't you? I paid good money.
Because.
I've loved that band throughout, thick and thin.
What'd you
I
think
love
you were
Sammy.
Gonna see? You think Eddie was going to be there when you got there?
I knew. But here's the thing. You got to find a way to play it down. Let me just play a piece of this. This is 5150. Take a listen and see what you think, because I think, Joe, you'll probably like it. Let's see if it'll play through
trouble here.
Okay, there we go. All right, take a listen to this. This is from the show Saturday night at Concord Pavilion. What'd you think?
I thought that was fine.
Okay. That actually playing it back, you could hear Sammy. And Sammy, he's almost 80, so he's got to change what he does vocally.
I was going to say, yeah, man. I mean, that sounded great.
That was an easier song for Satriani to play, but here's what Satriani does. He can't make music. He's kind of doing a chorus with his guitar. He's giving you just enough so you know what song it is they're singing. And Michael Anthony's got to bust his ass. He's got to do triple time on bass, and he's got to do all the background stuff to make these shows and these songs sound like they used to. Wow, my apologies. But
now they're calling you.
Yeah, they were calling me. Oh, public service coming in.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Can you see that? Public service. What does
That's
that
what
mean?
we get. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably your unemployment. Mine keeps saying, I think the California government or something. I have no idea.
I think they want me to go out today and pick up trash along the roadside.
That could be. Yeah, I know. Okay, well, we become part of the crew.
Joe and I talked about this too. We are coming up, hopefully in a couple of days, going to do a live show. Hopefully we have the phone number and everything, and we're going to start doing these things in the morning so you can call in, because that's what we've always done. We've always talked to people. And
yeah,
I could call Joe and talk to him on the phone, and we could record it. We could do this. Joe bores me, and I'm sure by now I bore him.
Get out of here.
But I miss having people on to talk to and questions and screwing around with people and doing that. That's what we want to do, and we're trying to get all this stuff done. Yeah.
And we'll have a couple of ways. Like Dog said, we'll have a phone number, and we'll also have, you can do chat. You can come through and do online chat with us too. That'll probably be a little bit harder for us to get to as we're doing the show live, but we'll try. We'll give it a shot and see how we do.
I want to do calls. That
is no problem. We can absolutely do that.
Yeah, and the audio you heard from the Van Halen show or the Sammy show, that just went through the Bluetooth on the phone, and we're trying to work on getting a phone number dedicated so you could call. Again, we're not going to have a phone bank, like 50 people calling up or whatever. It's going to have to be like one or two at a time. But we do want to live stream, so it is live. Joe has reassured me today that he can be on time.
I can be, yeah.
Traveling from his bedroom to his bedroom he thinks he can do and manage being on time. Traveling from his house to the studio, no way.
I know. Well, I had to actually leave. I had to, take off and go somewhere. Now we've got the kind of, well, it's not done yet, but we're working on a little cozy area in here, and I enjoy being in here. It's nice.
See, I don't. See, Joe likes being there at home. I can't stand it, and I feel cooped up, and I don't know. Sitting in my house just does not thrill me.
I think it's cool to be able to have a studio where you can reach out and talk to you or talk to a listener or talk to an interviewer, and you could do it all from, our backgrounds look a little bit different, but not everyone who does podcasts gets to do them in the same rooms. There's a lot of guys that do them from different locations, and I like that. I like the ability because you can, I don't know, you could do a lot more, I think, this way than we could.
Yeah. And there'll be days, too, when we hook up. We got to get, out and about again. And Joe and I will definitely do podcasts in the same studio. It's not too difficult to load this crap up and do it side by side. But right now, there's really no reason to waste money on gas.
Yeah. Plus, it's just, I don't know. It's different. It's cool. And we, each one of us got a new little laptop so we can try and zip this thing up a little bit. It's kind of fun to play on it and figure it all out. I've been enjoying it.
Well, again, we appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure you comment. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share it. Again, like we said the first episode, we'll try to get better. These will hopefully get better. Well, they'll look better, and they may have more gizmos and bells and whistles, but you're going to hear the same old shit, and it's not going to sound any better, really.
We're probably not going to be any better. It just might, like you said, look cooler. That's the cool thing about video. We can dance it up a lot.
We could get worse. That's something that a lot of people have said that could very easily happen.
Well, let's hope not. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. Why don't we?
Yeah. Well, I'm done. If you are, Joe. Number 2 in the books. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon or evening or morning or whenever you get to watch this. See, that's the other cool thing about this. You can watch this anytime before bed. It's pretty cool. We do thank you very much. Thank you so much. We will talk to you for show number 3. Play nice.